Welcome, everybody. My name is Tyler Miller. This is NASCAR on DFSCheatSheet.com. The story Victory Lane is up on the site. Make sure you go check it out and everything we have to offer at DFSCheatSheet.com. Primarily, I'm a FanDuel player on NASCAR. It's what most of my articles are based on. I do include DraftKings pricing, and I have a full explanation. If you're new to NASCAR, new to playing DFS, you can look up NASCAR 101. It's under the setup at DFSCheatSheet.com. You can check that out, see the differences in scorings, making and how both sides score, how you make a lineup, some of the construction differences. The main thing is, an extra driver on DraftKings, some scoring differences between the two sites. But I primarily play FanDuel, and I think we have a great opportunity to have some fun playing DFS on Sunday with the Busch Clash, which is coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on FS1. You can play along. A couple of things a couple of ideas, a couple of strategies that I wrote about, that I was thinking about as I was writing Victory Lane. The main thing is how you're going to construct your lineup. Who are you going to build around for this race? It's an interesting race. There's only 18 drivers. It's only 75 laps. 2 stages. First stage is 25 laps. The last stage is going to be 50 laps. Typically very calm, especially at the beginning of the race. I wouldn't be surprised if one driver led most of the first 25 laps, and then things picked up a little bit in the second stage. They will need to pit in the last stage. They can't go 50 laps, so they'll need a pit stop, probably under caution, but you never know. What I came up with, where I like to be, is going into this, before I knew the starting lineup or anything like that, which, by the way, was a random draw Saturday evening, I knew in my head that I liked Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski. Now, the problem is you can't play those 3 drivers on FanDuel. Denny Hamlin at 11.5, Joey Logano at 12,000, Brad Keselowski at 11,000. That leaves you with only 15.5 for 2 drivers, and FanDuel's minimum price is 8,000. So that's impossible. You can't do it. You have to figure out what the right play is. Now that you know the starting lineup, a couple of things are pretty obvious. Number one, Denny Hamlin I think is a must play. He drew the last start. He's going to start 18th. So last position, he has the biggest potential for differential points. I think Denny Hamlin is an absolute lock button. And then you look at the difference between Joey Logano starting 13th and Brad Keselowski starting 2nd. Where do you go from there? I'm going with Joey Logano. I believe in Logano more. It scares me a little bit because I think that Brad Keselowski could easily get around Ryan Newman and lead laps early in the race. And if he does that, and he leads 30 to 40 laps, wins the race, then you're going to be in trouble. But Joey Logano, really, all he has to do is improve his spot, finish in the top 5. I think he could contend to win the race. I think he could lead some laps of his own, especially later in the race, to make that the right play, to build lineups around Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. As you look down on FanDuel, look down the pricing list, Kyle Busch, not interested, 12.5. That's a ridiculous price for him. He's not even close to the highest priced driver on DraftKings. He is at 8,700, which would make Logano, Hamlin, and Keselowski all priced higher than Kyle Busch on DraftKings. So on FanDuel, there's no way. Logano, Hamlin, I like Keselowski. I can't fit him if you're going to build multiple lineups. I like using him. Maybe 2 of those 3 I would use Logano and Hamlin in 80% of the lineups, maybe 20% of Brad Keselowski with one of them, 10 and 10. I like Ryan Blaney. I think we talked about this in the setup, which was the article that previews the race that was posted earlier in the week. Ryan Blaney with the best driver rating at Daytona. He's been strong there. Just 2 starts, 2 fourth-place finishes. He ran well in both of those races. I think Ryan Blaney's a solid play. Blaney's starting this race in the 14th position. Some room for differential points. I think he could maybe even lead some laps. Overall, I think Ryan Blaney's a strong play. I kind of ended up talking myself into Martin Truex Jr., and I'll tell you why. Truex is starting 3rd. He's $1,500 cheaper than Brad Keselowski. So what you're banking on with a play of Truex is you want him to lead laps early, run at the front of the pack all day, and finish in the top five. And if he does that at 9,500, I think it's a good play when he's paired with Logano and Hamlin, which will get you the differential points and will get you where you need to be overall with the potential to score a lot of points. You know, any of those three, really anyone can win this race. Any of those three can win the race. You're giving yourself an opportunity to have three guys lead laps, two guys to get a lot of differential points, and your top three players can score a lot in this slate in the Busch Clash. You know, you look at the Hendrick Motorsports guys, I don't know. I like Chase Elliott. He's okay at 9,000. Bowman and Byron are at 8,500. And for some reason, FanDuel priced Jimmy Johnson at 8,000, which is their minimum price. Everybody's going to be on Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson that's fine. He won the race last year. It's a good play. He's starting 16th. He could score a lot of points. He could win the race. He could finish top five, which would make that a good play. I'm not sold on it. I don't know why. I like Austin Dillon better. I think in their only practice for this race on Saturday, you saw Austin Dillon draft and practice with the Hendrick drivers, and that gave me some confidence. I was a little bit worried that Austin Dillon was going to be stuck trying to draft with Kurt Busch and nobody would work with him, or Kyle Larson, and that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed like Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson were by themselves, but Austin Dillon was drafting and working with the Hendrick guys. I like him to maybe push Jimmy Johnson towards the front early in the race and work together. I think Austin Dillon's a better play. I think you'll get him at lower ownership to Jimmy Johnson. All you need for him to do is beat Jimmy by one position. And the other thing about Daytona, Talladega and Daytona, for those of you who are new to NASCAR, new to DFS, don't really understand most of what I'm saying right now. Again, the NASCAR 101 article does a pretty good job of explaining some of this. But Talladega and Daytona, and especially this Busch Clash, because it's a short race, it's an exhibition race, there's no points on the line, it can be unpredictable. It can be wild. A lot can happen that you don't know. It's a high-risk race, right? So if you're doing high risk, you want high reward, you typically look at a GPP lineup and you say, how can I build this lineup that's a little bit different, but not stupid? You know, there's a difference between being contrarian and just being dumb. And I think there's times where you have to really look at yourself and say, is playing Austin Dillon over Jimmy Johnson contrarian, or is that dumb? In my opinion, I think it's a good contrarian play. I like Austin Dillon in this race. I even don't mind Kurt Busch in this race, starting 17th. You know, he could only lose one position for differential. He could gain quite a bit, but I'm not really sold on that. I think you can mix it up if you want to look at the Hendrick guys, if you want to make a lineup with three of the four Hendrick drivers. I think you could easily do that because they're all priced so low. You know, overall, I think the fastest cars are going to be the Toyotas. I don't like Kyle Busch because I don't like his price. But I think, you know, if you match Hamlin and Martin Truex, I think that makes a lot of sense. Eric Jones is minimum price. So do you want to roll with Eric Jones? I mean, the problem there is, he's starting 12th. So, yeah, he might increase his starting position, but Eric Jones just always seems to have issues in these races. All-star races, I don't have a lot of faith in Eric Jones. I don't have a ton of faith in Kyle, like drivers like Kyle Larson, who's starting 4th. No, thank you. Eric Almirola 5th. Nope. Clint Boyer 6th. Not interested. Those are guys. The Stuart Haas guys. I don't know. You make a case for playing Kevin Harvick. I think he's won this race 2 or 3 times. You know, the Clash, it used to be called the Advanced Auto Parts Clash, the Sprint Unlimited back in the day. It's changed names quite a bit, but basically the same race. He's won it multiple times. He's starting 10th. You know, if Kevin Harvick's starting 16th or 18th, this is a much different discussion because I think Kevin Harvick could get to the front, but I think overall your best scoring options are going to be Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano when you look at the top end of the pricing spectrum, because Kevin Harvick priced up there at 10.5, you know, just under Logano, 500 more than Blaney, 1,000 more than Martin Truex. So that's kind of where I'm at. You know, I really like Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. I think that's who you build around, and then I think you can kind of get creative with the value. You can say, you know, I like Austin Dillon. I think there's a case to be made for Jimmy Johnson that he might be chalk. You could play both of them and then go up a little more for your mid tier. Find someone you really like in the Ryan Blaney, Harvick, Truex, in that range. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm at. So if you have any questions, hit me up on Discord. Hit me up on Twitter. Discord, I'm TMiller128. Twitter's at RickyBobby_Jr., which is an unfortunate / awesome Twitter handle I've had forever. So yeah, good luck. Hope you guys have fun playing, and we will talk to you next week.